Obviously, I'm a New Edge Mustang person, but the thing is, 1999, was the New Edge Mustang really a revolution? Or is it just a new suit that they threw on the prior generation chassis, the SN95, which also traces itself back all the way to 1979? Or did Ford just throw a new suit on to an old chassis and sent it out to market? Let's dive in.
Hello and welcome again to Motor Week. We're glad to have you with us. Look up and down streets everywhere, and there's no denying America's 35. Ford wanted this latest Mustang GT to push the buttons, tug the heartstrings, and stir the souls of longtime Mustang fans. So they gave the latest Mustang a look that is both retro and cutting edge. A pony car for all seasons, you might say. The makeover started on the outside, where designers mixed Ford's New Edge design theories with familiar styling cues from the Mustang's youth, such as the long sloping hood that ends in flush-mounted headlights and a very vintage-looking honeycomb grille and chrome.
Okay, but I have to be honest though, I hate these grills. I love the New Edge Mustang, but the honeycomb grille is pretty much the first thing everyone should get rid of whenever they get one of these. I mean, they fade so quickly. They hold so much water. They're never fully clean. And also, one thing I saw here that I've always thought about the 99 to 2000 specifically. Ford kind of half-baked it a little bit. Here's what I mean. Look at the hood scoop. It's not really a scoop. It's just kind of a plane that has been scooped out of the hood. It's non-functional. There's no opening. Sure, you can make it functional, but the question is, why didn't Ford do that from the factory? That's always been my big thing. Why didn't Ford at least make that open from the factory? Another thing has to be the headlights. While brand new, the chrome headlights don't look too bad. They fade really ugly. Luckily, Ford was able to fix a majority of these issues when it came to the 2001 styling update, but more on that later.
Ends in flush-mounted headlights and a very vintage-looking honeycomb head scoops that recall GT and Shelby models of the late 60s.
Oh, this is another thing I absolutely hate. The side scoops. Now, these never truly went away. V6 Mustangs for the entirety of the New Edge Mustang run always had these little scoopettes, if you will. And here's the biggest downside. Like, look right here. These don't go all the way to the door, and it just looks so tacked on and cheap. You know, they definitely got it right when it came to the 2001 Bullet, where it was a side scoop delete, or also just the more standard full side scoops. But man, I just hate how these look. Ooh, and look at that fender gap. There's one thing that kind of sucked about this generation Mustang is that it looked exactly like what it was. It was a new body style on top of an old car. Because the thing is, these are all based on cars from the 1970s. You know, there's a Fox body deep underneath this vehicle. And while I love the styling, especially the rear taillights, you can sometimes tell from the front overhang, from the wheel well openings, it's an older car that rides very tall.
But the Mustang's appeal has always been more than skin deep, and tucked under GT's sharp new skin is a much more potent power plant. Ford's modular 4.6-liter single overhead cam V8 now makes 260 horsepower and 302 pound-feet of torque. That's 35 more ponies and 10 more pounds of bottom-end grunt than last year.
And honestly, it was the engine that the 4.6 should have launched as. Like, to be honest, the non-PI 4.6 was just not a good engine. Like, it was fine for a Crown Vic and stuff like that, but when it's going into a Mustang and it's not even an improvement over the 5.0, the non-PI 4.6 really made it seem like the fun times were over when it came to Mustangs. But the 4.6 PI, which is what we got right here. I mean, the fact that it at least has improved horsepower, better torque, faster in the quarter mile. Also, I mean, back then 260 horsepower was considered a lot, or at least a good amount.
It's coupled with either a smoother 5-speed manual transmission like the one in our test car.
These should always have a 5-speed, by the way. This generation was the T45. I know later is the T3650. Don't get an automatic. They're not bad, but there really is genuinely so much more driving enjoyment. This notchy stick shift right here, because it goes directly into the manual transmission. So yeah, get a stick shift.
Or an optional 4-speed automatic. Punch it, and this pony sprints to 60 in only 5.5 seconds and gallops through the quarter mile in 14.6 seconds at 98 miles per hour. That's as fast as last year's Cobra model.
Okay, as fast as last year's Cobra model. I also think the people at Motor Week are not great at launching. Don't get wrong, like, it is possible to get these all the way into the very low 14s, high 13s. The fact that this Mustang was able to match the Cobra from last year, they rushed out the 4.6. I mean, this is how the engine should have came out. They should have kept the pushrod 5.0 all the way through 98.
It's smoother and more linear as well, with the engine pulling hard through the entire rev band. The new camshafts and straighter intake manifold runners make a real difference. Also new is a wider rear track. Inside, the Mustang GT has seen fewer changes, but as we've said in the past, that's okay since this is still the best design in the pony car class. The dual cockpit style dash is clean and straightforward, while the front bucket seats now offer 6-way power adjustments and one...
That man just fades right into the interior. Beige upon beige upon beige. I don't know what it is. During that time period, we just went beige crazy. I love this interior Mustang. The dual scoop design to me is one of the most pleasing. It's very 90s. Even in the more edgy body style, I still think it looks really good. I think ergonomically, it's great. I'm 5'10", so I fit perfectly into the car. If you're a bigger guy, I will say new wedges are a little bit on the tight side, and those back seats are useless. You can usually fit one person sitting sideways. That's always what I recommend. I never understand why people say these interiors are ugly. True, they're not as aesthetically pleasing as what was coming out of Europe and Japan, but I mean also this car was a heck of a lot cheaper. So it's like, what a shock. Mass production Mustang is not nearly as nice on the inside as a BMW 3 Series.
1 inch more rearward seat travel. They're firm and comfortable, but could use a little more lateral support for hard driving.
That I don't disagree with. These seats are terrible for any sort of performance driving, especially if they're leather. In my Roush, when I first started autocrossing, I had, stock leather seats, and not a good time. Yeah, no, you're spending more time pinning yourself against the interior of the car so you don't slide around than anything else.
Pages remain large and easy to read, while heat and ventilation controls are super simple. And even the stereo controls, while set below the ventilation controls, are clean and well organized.
I hope YouTube doesn't demonetize me for that one.
Oops, like the Mustang, rear seat room is pretty tight for adults, but it does split and fold for versatility.
And I'll show you some versatility.
The trunk itself offers a reasonable 10.9 cubic feet of space, but the tight opening and high liftover make loading large bags rather difficult.
You can get a lot of stuff in the trunk, though, I will say. Just, if you put a subwoofer in these things, you're losing trunk space. I mean, that's why I actually have a subwoofer that's made for, like, the cab of a truck, just so I have a little bit of spots.
For Mustang performance is, however, easier than you might think. The insurance-friendly Mustang V6 begins at $16,995. Our V8 GT Coupe test car begins at $21,395. And as tested, tallies $23,665. Want a GT convertible? Then plunk down a still reasonable $25,395. So price clearly makes America's best-selling pony car even more appealing. And that
now here's the thing. So in 1999, this was a $23,000 Ford Mustang. As you saw, they talking about like as tested. So it had leather, it had the nicer seats, it had the upgrade sound system, probably the Mach 460. In today's dollars, it is $41,000. Which is right in line with, I believe, a base Mustang GT. Of course, a base Mustang GT today has a heck of a lot more features and performance than this Mustang from 1999. Now, the thing is this actually a good deal? Picture this. It's 1999. And you're wanting to get your first sporty car. $23,000 could get you a lot of other very cool things. As you're seeing kind of like the B-roll right here of the Mustang, while not a bad car and definitely cool, this was during the rise of the import craze. For $23,000, you could easily buy a used Supra. You could get an RX-7. You could for sure get a Corvette. And the thing is, the Mustang GT, while a decent, fun car, there were other options. I think that's the biggest thing, is that there were other better options. The Camaro and the Firebird were still around if you had to have something American, and they were just so much better. As someone who has had a couple generations of this Mustang, here's the thing. They were always V6 performance for a V8 price. 260 horsepower was good, but Chevy was past that in 93 with the LT1. I think the Z28 in 1993 was at 285 horsepower. It took Ford, another good couple of years to get kind of close, and it didn't even really beat that until the S197. So here's the thing. I think these are cool. It's kind of nice to see that back in the day, it was seen as like, oh, it's a fun, sporty car. But would I go back in the day and actually buy it? That would be a hard one, because even in a couple of years, you would have the Evo 8 and the Impreza WR Rex in America. So let me know what you think. Would you have bought this Mustang? back in the day, with performance and everything that you're seeing right here. Not a bad car. On the flip side, though, there's just so many different options.
Hey, thank you so much for watching Brown Roush. If you're not subscribed, make sure you do so. I think I have the button over here. I'm really big into data and just make sure everything's like right. So leave me a comment down below about like what you liked about this video, what you don't. I actually do read all the comments, even the mean ones. And feel free to follow me on Instagram, TikTok. It's Brown_Roush.